Welcome to another episode of Breaking Down IT with Steve. I am your host, Steve, with PDX Information Technology Services, and this week we are at Gabrielle Zenner's place, and we'll be talking a lot about SWOT analysis and business planning. And as you notice, my seat keeps lowering down, so this is going to be a fun time. So anyway, thank you, Gabrielle, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody about a little bit about what you do, how you do it, why you do it, and we'll go forward.
I guess, sure, happy to. So, you know, it's really fun, at least for me, to work with small business owners on their annual operating plan. So it's business planning, but a really comprehensive look at somebody's business. It allows for buy-in with the team and the entrepreneur. And often people who own businesses, they're like in the business every day, and it's really easy to miss the blind spots. And it's rare for them to be in a position where they can work on their business. So the annual operating plan is a way that it's like this diamond here. Okay. Where if this is the business, you're the sparkle, but every once in a while having facilitated time to look at all the different aspects of the business from the outside. And I built out this white paper annual operating plan that is duplicatable for all these businesses. And it is the skeleton and the bones of the company I used to work for. At the time, they were $36 billion a year. The team that I was working on was $380 million in revenue a year. Operating stores in every time zone, plus .com and franchises in certain countries where they're not allowed to have, they have to be owned by people in that country. And it's just really, really fun to have those conversations on what's working, what's not, getting the buy-in from the teams, and kind of having this whole layout of how you operate your business for the whole year. And then taking checkpoints along the way for those quarterly business reviews to see if you're making progress and keeping the eye on the prize, which is success.
Perfect. We're all looking for the eye on the prize.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
or
I go
a diamond this size.
Yeah.
Have you seen this thing?
Well, my husband missed that, but...
Yeah. Like, hey, honey, I want a diamond that size.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Right. Yeah. And so I went from doing that work to owning my own business, and it's been really fun. So this is a passion project for me, helping other small business owners with their annual operating plans, because I built out this duplicatable process, and kind of getting to see the rewards of those people being able to make big progress in their companies and finding the low-hanging fruit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we dive into it, and you can walk through these slides that she did for my company, which is PDX IT. And so why don't we just start here?
So the skeleton of the annual operating plan, it has very specific chapters to make sure that all parts of the business are have that very articulate conversation around that piece. So it all starts with a North Star, which is the vision and mission statement. And a company should be looking at that every year to see if it still resonates, if it still makes sense. And it also makes sure that the business's goals are aligned to what they're trying to do. Okay. I think it's really easy, if that's not the North Star, the vision and the mission statement, to go off track or do all these like little other passion projects or other like things that don't end up mattering for the company, even though it's a fun thing or whatever. So it keeps the business going in the direction it needs to be going.
Well, perfect.
Then there's the SWOT analysis, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Which,
Next.
That's
Yeah,
next.
we're on this slide.
All right. So, sorry, are we table of contents?
Yes, table
Okay.
contents, yeah.
All right, perfect. We're at table of contents.
The SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And taking a look at that on a yearly basis, kind of, okay, like what's going on in the market and what's going on with the team and what are some of those business processes, taking a look at the services of the company or products at a really, again, it's like looking at it.
Yeah.
And taking yourself outside of those things, and it allows for the small business owner and the employees to get a really good grasp on what's going on.
Good.
So the next part of the business plan is the goals. So based on the strengths of the company, the opportunities, weaknesses, and threats, what are those things that they are going to decide are their business goals, performance goals, and defining KPIs for that coming year.
Now, KPI is?
A KPI is a key performance indicator.
Okay.
And a lot of businesses, those might look different. So, and then I think something that often gets overlooked with business plans and small business owners is their own personal goals. I know it's happened to myself even too. It's like really easy to make the business your baby, but then you're giving so much to it that you forget about you. And like adding personal goals so that way you're still in charge of your business. And then marketing activities based on those business goals, performance goals, the business structure, so like the talent planning or staffing, taking a look at the operations of the business, finance, how do the numbers work with those goals and with where you want to get to. And then a section for an appendix so you can keep all that historical data and you don't have to go find it over and over and over again. It's all there and you can just keep building on the annual operating plan year over year.
Nice.
So that's kind of the big chunks of it. All right, and then we're going to move along. So the vision and mission statement. And at PDX IT, after doing some facilitated work with you, you came up with to provide security for companies that is exactly what they need to thrive through tailored implemented cybersecurity solutions. Should be one word, or not one word, one sentence.
One word, cybersecurity.
That's
all
two.
you get. That's all. No, it's combined. It's combined.
It's hyphenated. One sentence. And essentially that's the elevator pitch. If anybody asks what you do, your vision statement should be your elevator pitch.
Nice. Okay. All right.
And then the mission statement is a little bit more pared down. So the vision, big picture, mission, a little bit more granular. PDX IT empowers small businesses to thrive in the digital world by providing expert, ethical, and secure technology solutions. We prioritize client success above all else, ensuring their best interests are always at the forefront of our decisions. Again, a little bit more tailored. So you're saying it's about ethics, it's about client success, it's about their cybersecurity solutions.
Yeah.
A little bit more drilled down.
More drilled down.
All righty. And then the SWOT analysis, I don't know. Oh. Okay, well, I think that needs to get moved over.
Yep. All right. Here we go.
It's okay. Anyways, and then the SWOT analysis, so we have strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These were some of the things during the conversation after what worked, what didn't work of last year, taking a look at the market. Some strengths you'd chatted about is like the owner education and background of your big corporate experience. You're a strategic partner for your clients. That's something that's unique to you. You have personalized service tailored to each business. Also cool, so everything's a custom fit.
Yep.
And you want to be capitalizing on that. Then some potential weaknesses like marketing and brand awareness. Okay, those are things that when we're talking about goals that we want to address. You are a team of one currently.
Currently, I have contractors though.
Right.
I have contractors that work for me.
But still, nonetheless. But okay, well, how do you build up your business to the point where you've got more help? Opportunities, getting maybe more client referrals. Every business wants more business. That's always an opportunity. But the how is the fun part to figure out. Increasing revenue by a certain percentage. That's a really cool metric. Awesome. And then threats, like there's the Geek Squad, or competitors charge a different way of pricing, but that's okay because your strengths overcome those things.
Yeah. So let's ask a couple of questions regarding the SWOT analysis.
Sure.
Now, when you have your opportunities, you show your opportunities, how can you say, okay, well, I want more business. I've never met a company that says, oh, I have all the business I can handle and I don't want any more. How does the company say, hey, I have this opportunity, I want to grow by X percentage. How qualitative can they, get in order to achieve that goal?
Like, what are some of those things that could make that happen?
Yes.
Sure. So every business looks a little differently, and this is like where all this work is generally done on a one-day offsite with the team or the small business owner, and coming up with those ideas through a Post-it exercise.
Post-its?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is over here, my own personal business, well, Posties. And we'll get more into that too.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, but that generally drills down into those marketing activities, which then drills down to the spend of those activities and what's realistic, what's not.
Okay.
But yes.
All right, perfect. Let's continue on.
Okay.
So we've performance goals.
Yes, we want to start there.
Yeah.
What does the business need to be successful based on those opportunities and weaknesses and threats, and how do you still capitalize on the things that you're super good at? And at PDX IT, when I was chatting with you, there seemed to be like, okay, there's a few things, six performance goals that if you were to do these by the end of the year, you would have moved the needle greatly. Okay, getting more Google reviews.
They're important.
They're very important.
For your SEO, they're important.
Yes. Getting 5 new contracts or 10 new this kind of a service. That would increase your revenue by 50%. Okay, that's definitely a metric that we want to be. That's one account every 2 months.
We missed that goal just a little bit.
Well, there's still a lot of months left in the year. Revenue increasing by 20%. Committing to sending 1 monthly newsletter, because that keeps your current clients engaged. Boosting your brand awareness and developing centers of influences in very specific industries. That would be talking to clients that would need managed IT services. Yeah. So if you grow those relationships, you will in turn make your performance metrics because you are getting the referrals that you need.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a cascading effect.
Right.
It's a domino effect where you do one activity and that leads to another activity, that leads to another activity, leads to another activity, and you just keep moving down
Yes.
the road.
Yes. And to me, when I'm thinking about developing COIs, like I want butts and seats. Okay, so you have bookkeepers, telecom, commercial real estate. Well, okay. So each of those categories of professionals, I want 5 people or companies that are referring me.
Oh, okay.
So we want butts and seats. They should have headshots with the name. And by the end of the year, you can say they've generated X amount of revenue for me.
Gotcha.
And then those are the people that you keep.
And then
Make
you
it
put
happy.
new butts and seats.
Yes, because then you want your team to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then that's your bench. And if we're playing baseball, you want the most epic team, a championship team.
Yeah. Baseball reference.
Yeah. Well, I don't play the sports, but I hear that's a good one.
I like it. I like it.
Anywho, and then it's actually fun to do business because those are lunches, they're happy hours, they're coffees, and you're just building those relationships in your community. So you're enriching and getting your community smaller. So it's like there's no losing in that.
Yeah. It just takes time, money, and effort.
Right.
So
Yeah, we'll
you
drill
just have
down.
to time, money, and effort.
Correct. And resources, dang it.
Yeah. So.
Okay. And so we have these 6 annual performance goals. Well, it's cool when those can be drilled down even more to quarterly goals, because then you're like really laser focused on the activities that you need to be doing for those 3 months. And you'll hit it by the end of the year, those 6 things, because you're doing all the things that you need to be doing throughout the year in more bite-sized pieces. Okay, so you decided to ask for 10 clients for 5-star Google reviews in Q1. You would have sent 3 newsletters by then. You would have acquired 5 new Spotify subscribers and developed 2 COIs in a certain category. So you're saying, okay, I'm going to spend this quarter working on these butts and seats. I'm going to spend that quarter working on subscribers and Google reviews.
Yep. Which I actually hit my Google review goal.
Woohoo!
So I actually did that.
Celebrate. And then same with Q2, Q3, Q4. And okay, you've got 4 goals here, 5 goals there, 5 and 3. So instead of 6, it's only a few throughout the year.
It's only a few throughout the year. So you just kind of put those on a scale and you just, okay, I'm going to do that on Friday.
Right, calendar blocking, yes.
And you say, okay, I'm going to do this on Friday, and that's going to be my
time to do that.
time to do that.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
And then like I had mentioned earlier, those personal goals are really important for small business owners because the business can be all-consuming baby. And it's much better for your overall health and your personal relationships if you have these goals. And I like these 3 buckets for personal goals: health, wealth, and love and happiness. Because otherwise like eye exams. My own mother, who owns a business, hasn't got an eye exam done, and it's something you got done in the beginning of the year, I know.
Yeah.
But like, it's so easy to just not do it because there's so many other things that are also important.
Yeah.
But you said this is an important thing for you.
Well, because I sit in front of a computer all day doing this.
Yeah. Wealth, okay, so that's again another thing I think small business owners forget is like, okay, so the PDX IT, you're growing revenue, but also the Steve Schaff personal bank account needs to be doing things too.
Yeah.
So, okay, we want to have this amount of take-home pay. You want to be able to fund your own retirement. Like, those are really important things that could often get missed, especially with startups.
No, they do get missed. Yeah. Because you're worried about money in the bank account for the company.
Right.
And not paying yourself.
Correct.
And you should pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Doesn't always happen, but
that's what you want to be doing.
you should be paying yourself first.
Yes. Otherwise, you'll be learning the hard way and work 10 years and have nothing to show for it other than the business.
Right.
And then love and happiness, like having relationship goals, like are there better ways that you can be a husband? Are there better ways that you can be a parent? And identifying what those things could be. So you're filling your own like relationship cups. And you're not letting those relationships falter because your business is more important. You're still saying they're very much important.
Yeah, yes. And that's really key because, I mean, you have your spouse, significant other, whatever, they're staying behind you and they're helping you and they're encouraging you. And so you want to make sure that, their needs are met as well as yours.
Right, exactly.
So.
Otherwise, it's a real easy trap to work 12, 16-hour days.
Yep.
Work on the weekend.
No, we haven't done that.
But also, this is why it's so important every once in a while to be looking outside of the business, looking on it. Okay, and how is it all looking? Because it's all multifaceted.
Yeah. It is.
Self-reflection is really good.
Yeah.
Can be daunting and hurtful, but
But it's good. It's good.
okay, and then so we've identified the SWOT, we've identified the goals both on the business and performance as well as personal goals. So what are those activities going to be to grow that revenue and hit those performance indicators? Would be this section. So like I said, butts and seats. So like telecom, ISP, bookkeeping, commercial real estate, and then you want to have all of those bubbles filled in.
And we haven't filled in those bubbles.
Oh, right, exactly.
So that's a bet on me.
Okay, and then drilling down with the fiscal marketing calendar. Again, it's really easy to do things by quarter. So, okay, January, February, March, what are those activities going to be? So you had defined COI nurturing. There was like telecom for one quarter, then it was, I think, bookkeeping for another quarter, and then commercial real estate. So you have those boom, boom, boom. The newsletters are part of every single month because you said you were going to commit to that.
Yep.
A marketing activity for you is this podcast, so you're going to be committed to these sessions. And then you're going to be joining a chamber at some point, it looks like, for additional things. So good. So
Check.
Instead of December, you did that back in Q1 or 2?
Q1.
Good. Excellent. So proud of you. Because we want to be increasing those ROIs and all the marketing dollars, but you're spending those dollars on chamber memberships and COI nurturing, so the coffees and lunches and whatever it
Happy
takes
hours
to
and
get people like you.
Yep.
Okay, brand awareness. So taking a look at, all right, how does PDX IT show up in the digital space? And like how your Google SEO turns out. And Google SEO is like it's literally so important. If you are on page 2 or beyond, you are dead to the world.
We have a joke about that. We have a joke. So it's, where do you store a dead body? On page 2 of Google.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing with Google SEO is that how you show up in anything about the digital ecosystem, it will all translate to the Google SEO and how you show up in LinkedIn or on Spotify or on YouTube. Like PDX IT will increasingly grow alongside Google reviews. And you've already seen, what was it, 350% SEO optimization because you started doing these things and tracking them?
Yeah, it was, so for the last quarter, so Q1, I increased my SEO ranking by 350%. So I'm actually like pretty top in the, ranking. I'm third in most categories that I've said.
Cool.
So, yeah.
It makes a difference.
Makes a difference.
What was the activities that you did that got you there?
Well, the podcast, of course. And I've had, so I have done Google reviews, a lot of Google reviews for clients or from clients. And really just gotten my name out there with Chamber of Commerce. So they posted on the website. And that is a good... what they call a backlink, and so that's a good referral source for Google, and so that has helped out quite a bit.
Yes. Yay!
Yep.
And then LinkedIn is really cool because it also has brand analytics, so you can see the impressions, who you're reaching, but also how you show up on LinkedIn shows up on the Google. So that's all. It all talks to each other somehow. I don't really know.
Google has their tentacles in everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to actually use that to the benefit of the business, though.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have to do all the things.
Yeah. Yep. Sure do.
Or you'll die on page 2.
Yeah, or you'll die on page 2.
So, okay, next. Okay, business structure. So this is taking a look at the talent in the organization and staffing needs. So, okay, before we get to the next page for PDX IT, like this is the conversation with the small business owner. Based on what you said for your performance goals, are there any point at which you can't do it yourself? That it actually takes another human to do it? To meet it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, there's always a point where you're just like, I can't take any more.
Right.
I have to allow somebody else to do it. So.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Or you might already have a team, and if you're looking to grow, are there people that need to get promoted? Are there projects that they currently need to be working on so that they're ready for that next thing? Is it taking a look at your professional relationships if like you need like maybe a different bookkeeper or whatever, that those types of things, like the structure matters so that you can hit all your numbers. So
Right.
Okay, on to the next. Okay, so for business structure, we've got the talent planning. So you want to hire a tier 1 support associate full-time by the end of Q3.
Which we're probably not going to do, but that's okay.
Theoretically, though, when we first
when we talked
chatted about it, that's what it would have taken to get you to the, you need 5 new accounts, managed services?
5 new managed
to manage those services that you brought on.
Yep.
And then taking a look at the professional services, maybe hiring a marketing advisor or a sales rep agency. And then the business location, identifying, okay, so you have been working, it was a home-based business, but in order for you to grow, you might need to go to a co-working space. Okay, so
Which I
that's
did.
Okay, excellent.
Which I did.
But defining that, so then it becomes a part of plan, and you can bake that into the budget and expenses. Okay, and then the org chart. We've got you at the helm. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. I love it. Okay, so even though that there are some spots where it's not open or whatever, that's fine. At some point in the future, this is what the structure would look like, but hiring the tier 1 support, and then you've got contractors, so for bookkeeping, payroll, etc. But that is besides your other contractors that work here. They probably could be added if you want as a dot line.
Okay. I can certainly do that.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at the operations of the business, which is like billing or service, specifically with you. Because, I mean, there are so many aspects to how a business operates, but we as business owners should be like prioritizing the client experience and making it super easy for them to do business with us.
Yeah.
We want to take out any major hurdle possible.
Hurdles are not good.
Right. Hurdles are clunky.
Onboarding a new client, it should be seamless to them. Just be like, oh, hey, here to set you up, take care of everything. Don't worry about it. Have some questions for you. And boom, you're done.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Taking a look at that on a yearly basis to be like, okay, are there any parts of the billing process that are clunky? How can you optimize that experience for them? Or the service level, is there ways that you can make your the process of servicing a client easier?
So I actually do that activity probably almost quarterly.
Right.
What services do we offer that people want or need? And then there are other ones where, for example, I have a prospect that wanted a remote workstation where they have their laptop, but then they use this other remote system to do their work. And so there's a lot of things that you're looking at least in my industry, where you're like, okay, does this make sense for the business owner for this type of company? And how much does it cost the client?
Right, for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you do it often because I'm kind of obsessive about the client experience.
Well, if a client doesn't have a good experience, they're not going to stay with you.
Right.
So they have to have a good experience.
Yeah, and I think the difference between us, us and what can be offered in the digital space is the premium experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We take care of our clients.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so now taking a look at the numbers of the business. And I mean, I love this section particularly because I'm a numbers nerd. But let's get into it. First slide, planned marketing spend. Okay, so we had those things that we identified as activities throughout the year. Let's put some dollars to those. I know these are fictitious numbers, but okay, so podcasting is X amount of dollars, swag is X amount of dollars, operating your website is so many dollars, client gifting, nurturing, and industry memberships. Okay, so we need to at least make sure that we are spending, this $24,400. I don't know if that actually maths, but let's just say it does.
We'll just say it does.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the year-over-year revenue growth. So I think these are all fictitious too.
Yeah, these are fictitious numbers. Yeah.
Too. And I mean, most businesses can operate in the red, so don't feel like, I think these are fictitious anyways, but that's a bad thing. Most businesses operate in the red initially. That's all good because it's a bunch of owner equity that's keeping the company afloat. And we like to see growth.
Yes.
More. All right, so then we're gonna identify all of these expenses for all of these hard costs and potential soft things like the marketing or whatever, and then projected revenues from the different services that you provide. And if it doesn't math, the expenses are more than the revenue, that's a problem.
What?
Okay, so now there might need to be some pullback, or at what point do we do this activity and then say, all right, it's not producing the metrics that we needed to. And then it doesn't feel bad if you have to say at that point, we can't be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Because you said initially, okay, if we're hitting this, then it's a no.
Right. And I just use the rule of three. And so if you ever hear a bunch of my podcasts, I talk about layers of security.
Yeah.
My other one is rule of three. So backups or rule of three. I also use rule of three in marketing. If I do a marketing activity and I don't see a tangible benefit, then it goes out after 3 months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Exactly. Okay, and then you had defined some KPIs and production goals. Mm-hmm. So with your different service offerings, managed services, break fix, equipment, and subscriptions, what it will take to generate the revenue that you need. Granted, I think you took away some of the numbers, but I mean, this is just to show what it might look like. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So.
And then that's your scorecard on a quarterly basis.
Right. And I think then it breaks down into the quarterly business review.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to go through each of those because it's just a rehash of the annual, but just broken down into smaller chunks.
Exactly.
And
yes.
More digestible chunks. Mm-hmm. But is there anything final that you'd like to add to this or comments?
I feel like what's really cool about this work is that it finds the low-hanging fruit. And it's really easy for business owners to have those blind spots and just keep showing up, keep offering a premium client experience. But I think it allows for the small business owner to kind of see the things that they should be seeing but aren't.
Because we're too far in the weeds.
Right. I think it just elevates just enough that you can see the rest of the landscape, and there's easy things to just move the needle. And then for your team buy-in, if it was more than just you, for instance, this keeps your team on track. Especially if they're involved in these conversations, what builds this deck in the first place, but then also holding them accountable for the quarterly business reviews by taking a look at, okay, so the past quarter you did X, Y, Z, but did our company do the things that it was set out to do?
Yeah.
So again, are we hitting that North Star? Are we still doing what we say we're going to be doing? We're still going to service the clients the way we want to. Is that vision and mission statement still happening? And then we said we were going to do it these ways. Is that still going on? Okay. And then the last slide in the quarterly business review is remaining year adjustments. Yeah. And those are like one of the most important things of the whole slide deck.
Where do we need to adjust?
Yes, exactly. Because then you can keep the ship pretty tight and be nimble enough to move as needed, because business is not a static thing.
Yeah, and what I found working in big corporate, and I'm sure you know as well.
Yeah, we came from the same big corporate, actually.
Only for a little bit, though. And that's a part of my time that I don't want to think about. But what we do is, that you have such a big ship, and it takes so much to just direct it. And being a small business, we're like in a little speedboat.
Oh, totally.
And
very
we can
nimble.
Just, all right, we don't want to do that anymore. All right, we're going to shift this direction, and we're going to do that. And we're able to do that where bigger ships can't, where bigger companies really can't, because they're so massive that it takes them so long to move.
Right. And I think a really good example of that you shared is your rule of 3 with your marketing activities. If it doesn't have an ROI that generates in 3 months, like it's done, we're moving on to something else. Yeah. Bigger companies can't do that. They need the 6 months or a year worth of that to
even see if it works.
Right, exactly.
Does it work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going. And they throw more and more and more money at it.
Yeah.
And it could be a lost bucket. It just sort of disappears.
Right.
My uncle, he had a boat. And I was like, I'd love to have a boat, and he's like, no, a boat is where you throw money into the water and, never see it again. And so, that's one of those activities that I am very strict on is, I will give it 3 months. If at the end of the 3 months, it doesn't generate anything or anything tangible, then I'm dumping it.
Right, exactly. Yep, and then, I had one more thought that I wanted to share. The annual operating plan is a gold mine for getting buy-in with the team. And the epic part is that it's duplicatable year over year over year over year. You just get in the habit of doing it. You should be spending a whole day working on your business like the diamond in November, December, because you'll have a really good indication of revenues and expenses by that point for the last fiscal year. And give you enough time to prep for January 1 so you can hit the ground running for the upcoming calendar year.
Perfect. Because that's the goal.
Right.
Is just keep going.
Yes. Whether we're exhausted or not.
We just keep going.
Yeah. And then having the habit on a quarterly basis to take a look and see if what you were doing as a business is getting you where you want to go.
Perfect.
Yeah. But it was super fun working with you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. And it was fun working with you as well.
What did you find the most interesting?
You asked a lot of questions that I didn't even think about. Like the mission statement.
Yeah.
I was like, I provide IT to small business. And you're like, well, what do you actually do? Let's expand on that a little bit. So it took a little bit to get the mission statement and the vision. And I haven't done a SWOT analysis since college.
Right.
In business school, we would do, SWOT analysis. I haven't done a SWOT analysis in, 20 years. But you were like, okay, let's do a SWOT analysis. I'm like, SWOT. Strength, weakness. What are the other two? I'm gonna go look them up. I don't remember. And so that was very interesting to be like, okay, what's your strength? What's your weakness? What's your opportunity? What's your threat? Because I was like, okay, what's my threat? Well, competitors. Well, what else? What else is a threat? Economy. You have a small business, they may be pulling back and say, hey, Steve, we can't afford you anymore because, sales have gone south, or there's, something in the economy that is impacting their business, which would impact my business.
Right.
So, it's very interesting in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then keeping me accountable.
Right. Yes. And I think ultimately, like, where the SWOT's really cool is that it forces the small business owner to take a look at themselves, because they are the business.
Yes.
And we're not superheroes. We can't do everything, but we do some things well.
We're not superheroes? What?
I've got a friend who claims she is, but I'm going to tag her in this.
I love it. Awesome.
She might be the exception to the rule. But yeah, I think it's important to take a look at ourselves and where the business is going, and making sure that we are making decisions based on some of the things that we have as blind spots, or the things that we're not good at.
Yeah. Like marketing, like bookkeeping.
Right.
Like, things that we're not, that's not our strength. That's not what we do.
Or conversely, you might be good at bookkeeping, but should you be doing bookkeeping if you're an IT person? You should be doing IT 40 hours a week. You should be doing bookkeeping 0 hours of the week.
Yeah.
Because that is not your job.
That is, everything is my job. But I'm not good at it, so I'm going to outsource it to somebody else.
Right. Yes. Yeah, and then you can have a strategy around that.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, Gab, it's been great talking with you.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
You've been a very good conversation, and I hope everybody out there enjoys the conversation and the slides. And for small business owners, absolutely step through the slides, because it is eye-opening when you're looking at your company and you're like, I never even thought about that. What does that mean? And, what are my threats? So, but I appreciate the effort and everything.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course. Yeah, it's super fun. It's always fun. And I think the thing that, we have the deck, but the real magic is those conversations, spending that day creating, ideating, putting things on paper, doing the Post-its.
Yep.
The magic is in that.
Yes, the magic is in that.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for letting me help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, I will say tune in next week for another exciting episode of Breaking Down IT with Steve.